Hey guys, this is Mary and Joe at Live Fit and Thrive. Another episode, and today we're going to talk about a protein that most of you have never heard about. It's one of the most powerful anti-aging proteins out there, and Dr. Joe has written a book about it, but also has done quite a bit of research. So I want you to go ahead and start talking about this new favorite protein that's just going to take off.
So I think we've talked about Klotho in the past, but it's worthy of additional um, airtime, if you will, on the podcast because Klotho is it's coming on really strong in terms of everybody starting to hear about it. Uh, I wrote a book on it, as Mary said. It's a bestseller on Amazon. You want me to go get the book so you can see what it is? Hang on, I'll go
I
get it.
have it. I'll grab it.
Oh, okay, good.
Go ahead.
Anyway, so what is Klotho? It's been around. It was discovered in 1997 in a Japanese lab, and there's 3,000 scientific publications on this protein. And if you, I encourage you to go read the book because it's an easy read, and it'll tell you exactly why you'd want to increase your Klotho levels. The higher your Klotho level, your chances of getting any of those horrible things happen later in life, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, you name it, loss, sarcopenia, your muscle shrinking and you get frail. All these things are really intimately linked to low Klotho levels. So the most important take home on this protein that's produced, like everything else in humans, when we're 15 or 20, we have an enormous amount of these wonderful anti-aging longevity compounds and proteins and balance, and all the systems are working great in the human body. And then as we age, especially after 40, everything starts to decrease in the bloodstream and the blood levels. So Klotho is leading the way right now as the most exciting new therapy that we are developing also right now to be able to increase your Klotho levels. Uh, we always um, we always talk about, okay, yeah, we have all these regenerative medicine, functional medicine folks, and they pile all these supplements on you. But most importantly, you have to think about, how do you live your life? What do you do every day to maintain your health? And now we have the understanding, like, you go exercise. You're like, why would I live longer when I exercise? Most importantly, there have been studies that show you go do high intensity interval training for 45 minutes, your Klotho level goes from here to here. It skyrockets. It skyrockets for about 45 minutes. Then it turns back down to, the baseline. But the point is that pulse benefit effect of increasing your Klotho in response to exercise, especially high intensity interval training, dramatically increases your Klotho. And then you start looking at why people who exercise at the right amount, the right dose, and the right time, the right amount of time every week live longer. And this is one of the key components why. So back again, focusing on lifestyle. If you look at low inflammatory Mediterranean diet, that means eating a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, don't eat processed foods, higher Klotho levels, longer longevity. Within the Mediterranean diet, omega-3 fatty acids. You take fish oil, you raise your Klotho level. So again, intimately linked to healthy choices on every day where you go and what you're going to eat, how much exercise you're going to get, how much sleep you get, and how much stress or how much you're able to control and manage your stress. All are focused on, or all are linked to higher Klotho levels and longer longevity. So you go, wow, all this stuff costs a lot of money. I got to buy all these supplements. Nope, you just have to change your lifestyle to a healthier lifestyle, make those good choices every day, and you'll have higher Klotho levels and live longer. How much longer? Well, we don't know, but we know that if you have high Klotho levels, we can't do it in human studies. We don't have enough time. But if you do an animal study in a lab and go, okay, I'm going to take that Klotho compound away from that animal, they live 30% shorter. They shorten their lifespan. If you actually restore normal Klotho levels in that animal, they have a normal lifespan. And then we get in there and we start increasing Klotho lifestyle. Get the animal to run on a treadmill and all that, and or you add Klotho with various ways in animal research, you extend lifespan 30%. That's dramatic. I mean, 30% is huge. So for me to change your lifestyle, increase your Klotho, it's low hanging fruit to be able to, and by the way, these are really good years. So if you added 30% to to an average lifespan rounded off at 80, how many more years are you going to live? A lot, right? I mean, once you get up into those 60s and 70s, you go, hey, you know what? Life's coming up short here. How many years do I have left? If I had an extra 20 years, 20 or 30 years, that are going to be really great years, and I'm going to have great, quality of life, get up every day and really want to be here. That's what Clotho, I think, can bring to our patients, and that's why we're so excited about it.
That's great. Now, when you say it raises Clotho levels, do you know, like, do they have studies to show how long, like, what the half-life of those Clotho levels are? Um,
Yeah, so that's an excellent point because I'll give you two examples. One I already gave you. In other words, if you go do exercise, intense exercise, moderately intense exercise for that period of time, and then you measure Klotho levels, it increases, it spikes. You get a pulse response to the exercise of increasing Klotho, and then another hour later, Klotho's back down to normal. So you actually don't need to raise that Clotho for a long period of time. But that gives you also an indication. You mentioned half-life. How long does it hang out in the body? It's constantly being produced, especially by the kidney and areas of the brain and other organs. But the exercise part of it, the lifestyle uh, uh, response, doesn't keep Clotho levels necessarily elevated for longer periods of time. So there's likely going to be a dose or a pulse therapy or guidelines on how to take Klotho, how to increase Klotho. So what we're working on, two things. We're working on actually coming up with, we have a lab that makes Klotho, and we're putting it into a sublingual drop, which is going to be phenomenal. We're also looking at what's called a peptide. A peptide are these signaling proteins in the human body, and there are secretagogues, they're called. That's a big word, but secretagogue means I'm going to inject this peptide or take it by mouth, and it's going to go to that area of the body to increase an important anti-aging protein such as Klotho. It helps the body secrete this wonderfully healthy protein that the body needs. So we would likely not need to actually increase your Clotho constantly, but it might only be able you only need to do it like once a week or once every 2 weeks. And the reason I mention that, I'll segue that into they're heading into human studies, but out at UCSF, there's a researcher doing models of what are called Mouseheimer's. Alzheimer's models in mice, and they treat them with what's called recombinant research Klotho. They give them one injection. They look at all the baseline of the Alzheimer's they have, memory, cognition, executive function, all the things that are failing when you have Alzheimer's. It reverses Alzheimer's for up to 3 weeks with one injection. So there is a pulse response that we think is going to probably be the therapeutic guidelines, the therapy guidelines, and how to take Klotho. So that's still actually under research. We don't have the exact answer yet, but when we come out with our products, we will obviously have the directions on how to take Klotho. Hopefully by this summer to 2025.
so it kind of opens up my question, like, there's so many things that can activate Clotho, right? So Clotho essentially is just a protein, but I mean, so many other peptides, lifestyle, foods. You said
Mm,
Alka-Seltzer, once a day
yeah,
could
yeah.
at one point. Um, so it's just proof
Bicarbonate.
therapies work rather than being anecdotal. Is that what you're saying? Because you can now measure the actual Clotho levels. Do you
So
think?
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
No, that was
Uh,
that. That was the question.
Yes. Well, if you dig into the research on what increases Klotho, there's a lot of things out there, and I've developed a supplement called Klothomax with an A, Klothomax, that increases dramatically Klotho in my pilot studies, and it's on the market now. That you can buy it on our web store. You can buy it from Boutique Wellness, but that Klothomax has been scientifically designed to look at I think there's about 8 ingredients in it. I'll just rattle a few off that synergistically increase Klotho. So there are some of the components, the ingredients, for example, cordyceps, something called skullcap by Callan, something called rain, which comes from rhubarb, believe it or not. Those all tell your gene, your Klotho gene, to make more Klotho. Then we come in and with something like some resveratrol and ficitin, which are on a different approach to increasing Klotho. We've talked about in the past how zombie cells and cell senescence, if we manage them as longevity doctors, so these substance or excuse me, these cells in the human body start to accumulate as we get older in each decade of life. And those senescent cells, when they increase to higher levels, they start producing inflammatory substances that actually accelerate aging. So our job as longevity doctors is to keep that number low in this with the senescent cells or zombie cells. What we found is if we um, give the patient and manage those senescent cells and keep them at a lower level, healthy level, so we're not making all these inflammatory substances, Klotho levels actually go up. So giving the patient, that's why we built ficitin into the Klothomax because ficitin is a senolytic. It's a zombie cell killer. So multifactorial, the approach of managing Klotho is not just four things that actually tell the body to make more Klotho. There's other things that are influencers that suppress Klotho that we're taking away with the supplement also. So it works synergistically and we're getting really great results.
Like for instance, the protein or the enzyme that breaks down Klotho. Like do you know what main enzymes in the body break down Klotho?
We really don't. We don't know a lot about Klotho in spite of the thousands of research that has been done on it. We do know correlates. That means if we look at some of the bigger studies in longevity, retrospectively looking at what, like something called the In-Chianti study or NHANES, which is a national database of following humans for aging and disease, and they pull blood on these patients all the time. So, for example, in the In-Chianti study, which is a longevity anti-aging study done in Italy, that's why it's in Chianti. They've done Klotho levels on all those patients, and then they follow them. And the ones that have to live longer, or they look at them at 65 and say, okay, you have this Klotho level. How many of these people have diabetes? How many people have Alzheimer's now, or hypertension, or any disease of aging? Dramatically less with higher Klotho levels. And there is a cutoff. It's measured in PG per ml, picograms. So you don't have to worry about that. But the magic number is 690. If you want to really benefit for the most part from a healthy Klotho level, you have to get that level above 690 picograms.
Is it best to measure via serum or plasma,
Well,
or
what?
saliva?
Yeah. So there's two ways of measuring it. More on the research platform, we look at urinary Klotho levels. The more user friendly to the biohacker, the patient is a blood test. It's very expensive, so they batch them. But you can get the Klotho levels now at about $450. And we measure them in our patients at Boutique Wellness and Paradigm Wellness, 2 to 3 times a year. I have very specific focus on patients that I inherit. They come into my longevity program and had a history of cancer. And it's interesting enough, I went through my database the other day and I realized that in over, I mean, 30 years doing this, I have never, patients have been with me for decades. They're nuts. They really embrace what we do. But I've never had a patient develop cancer in my longevity program, which is unheard of if you think about cancer rates. And I have a lot of patients in their 60s and 70s. But patients that get back or come in with a history of cancer, there is history of cancer and no Klotho. I measure Klotho baseline coming in, and they're like not one, they're like point 0.1. You can't find it. So it's likely that the cancer suppresses the Klotho, but I have had my last cancer patient, prostate cancer, and he's been cancer free for 2 years. He came in, still no cancer, cancer free. His Klotho level was zero point 0.1. And after 1 year using my Klothomax in a pilot study, his levels have not gotten to the healthy levels, but on a percentage basis, he went from zero point 0.1 to 4.6. That's dramatic. We got him out of the basement and we're still moving up, but that's a dramatic move in increasing Klotho in this patient. So that's exciting news for me because we've taken him from a dramatically, really significant risk for disease development or recurrence of his prostate cancer, and now we're moving up into those healthy ranges. When they've done studies on patients with cancer, if you have high Klotho levels, your cancer incidence is about 30% less. If you happen to have normal Klotho levels and you still get cancer because it's not 100%,
Mhm.
your mortality going forward of dying of a cancer after the diagnosis is decreased 30% and your longevity is improved.
Right.
So coming into the cancer or dealing with the cancer on the way out or likely recurrence of that cancer is dramatically improved with high Klotho levels.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, their Clotho levels. We should come out with the blood stick so we can get instant Clotho levels. I think that's the
Well,
next.
yeah, that'll get there. Right now, the test is batched, as I mentioned. It's bundled from the research companies that supply the test kits.
Mhm.
So I don't know why they do it this way. Maybe it's cost, but they bundle it into like 6 or 8 per kit. And then when you open the kit, you have to use all of them. So that's why we will collect blood and we get the 8 patients, and then we open the kit and run the Klotho. So that keeps the cost down. If you went and got the Klotho by yourself and you just wanted to get it done, it's over $1,000 just because of that kit. So eventually, like anything, we'll get it down to an in-home blood test for sure. In fact, I think somebody is working on a blood spot for Klotho. It should be coming out, which is really cool.
That's incredible. Now you said earlier that you see it predominantly in the kidneys. Do you know why that is? There's mostly Clotho in the organ of the kidney versus
Yeah,
others.
no, when it was determined where it is generated, where it's made, it just happened to be in the far end of the kidney structure, the anatomy called the nephron, the distal nephron, which is this big long loop. That's where the gene sits, and that's where the Klotho's actually produced. But it's produced also. By the way, Klotho's really big. It's a huge protein. So it doesn't even pass the blood-brain barrier. You go, well, how the hell does it work in Alzheimer's? I don't want to get too geeky on that, but know that inside the brain, there's an area called the choroid plexus that actually makes Klotho in the brain. But the Klotho in the bloodstream also helps with brain health. But there's other organs, the thyroid, parathyroid, all also make Klotho. So it is produced in smaller amounts, the majority of the Klotho. Why in the kidney, we don't know. But we do know that the majority of the Klotho is made in the kidney in that area called the distal nephron. And we do know that if stages of kidney failure or insufficiency or function, loss of function, there's 4 stages. And those early stages, there is a direct correlation. Each stage of more severity of loss of kidney function is correlated with lower and lower Klotho levels.
Interesting.
You can give somebody who has low Klotho and loss of kidney function, and you can stop the loss of kidney function. You can stop the deterioration of the kidney function loss. We don't know yet if we can actually reverse it, but it's been studied that you can stabilize kidney function. And 10% of the global population now has some sort of kidney function loss, likely due to, we're going to get into the environment now, in my opinion. There's a lot of toxins in our environment, but I think one of them is microplastics. I know one of them is microplastics, and it increases microplastics. We consume about a credit card equivalent a week in our food supply. We're eating plastic to that amount. And over a lifetime, we're estimated to consume 40 pounds of plastics in our diet, into our body. So that begets, or that asks, then that raises the next question: where the hell are all these plastics going? Well, they got to get filtered by the liver, they got to get filtered by the kidney, and I think it's causing, we know that plastics, these microplastics are, they're hormone mimickers with estrogens, with BHT, and things that happen with plastic water bottles. But most importantly, that those plastics stimulate those markers or those substances of inflammation. So the inflammatory markers, all this alphabet soup of IL-1, TNF alpha, IL-6, are all stimulated in a negative way by microplastics. So what, most importantly, what we're thinking when the next thought is, well, hell, how do I get rid of these microplastics, right? One, eliminate them best you can from your food supply. Try not to wear, you know, clothes that are generated from plastics as a raw material and spinning fibers or spinning thread. But uh, get rid of the plastic water bottles, drink out of glass, buy water that comes in glass. A little bit more of an inconvenience carrying it, back from the grocery store. It's heavy. And if we're not going to get rid of them, we can reduce dramatically the amount of plastics into it, and you will feel the difference. I guarantee you, because you decrease the inflammation in your body, your energy levels go up, your sleep improves, your brain health improves, your clarity, everything actually comes back online where you thought you were doing okay, and all of a sudden you go like, wow, I feel different. Infrared sauna 3 times a week. Get that temperature up above 150 if you can, 20 to 30 minutes, and that's one wonderful way to remove the microplastics from your system, from your body.
And some chelation techniques too. Do you think that would be beneficial? EDTA, do you have some?
Yeah, good question. I don't know what binds to plastics in terms of a binder. I haven't seen any literature that actually can do that. Maybe you know. Do you have any literature on that, Mary?
I think selenomethionine, selenium and glutathione might help also.
Oh, as a
Glutathione.
detoxer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, glutathione, absolutely. Um, yeah, NAC, N-acetylcysteine. Take N-acetylcysteine, hop your infrared sauna, go get vitamin C, upregulate your detox pathways with a gram or two of glutathione. Yeah, that'll help a lot. Absolutely. We always detox.
It'd be cool to see the markers that are directly proportional with the increase in Klotho in the serum. So, if there is there any specific supplement that you have studied thus far that you see has the most direct impact in raising Klotho?
Well, the one I developed, Klothomax. You want to
That's
see a bottle? I got some. No, Klothomax has
a
80.
combination of 9 different things, right? So it's not like
Yeah, it's the only one on the market. I was very early in a good way. Wrote the first book with Klotho, as I said, bestseller on Amazon. And Klothomax, which is the supplement, just came out. You can purchase it on our website, pwmgmed.com. That's Paradigm Wellness Medical Group.com at med.com, and on our e-store. It is available. It will be available elsewhere. And I don't know if you have it on the shelf yet at Boutique Wellness, do you?
not
Do
yet.
you have a do you have a store? Do you have a store at Boutique Wellness online or no?
No, I do not. I need
Okay.
to.
Yeah, yeah, it works great. It's easy for patients. You assure them that because we're sourcing right from the real supplement manufacturers, that they're not getting a knockoff from overseas that's that gets infiltrated at a lot of these Amazon supplements that are garbage, or they're just knockoffs. They're actually fakes. So you have to be very careful if you buy online, and that's why we have a store. We don't, it's not to make money by any means. We give you 5% off and we give you free shipping at $75 or something. We're no Amazon, but we can assure you that the supplements that are provided on the store are the real deal and you're getting what you pay for.
Now, what do you think is the greatest impact in terms of symptoms? Let's say I was to take a bottle and I started for like 30 days. What would I expect to feel? um,
Well,
mentally?
from if raising Klotho levels, well, there's as I mentioned, there are several components, several ingredients that synergistically increase Klotho. There are an interesting beneficial lifestyle responses to higher Klotho levels, uh, improve brain health, brain clarity, improve memory. If we're cleaning up inflammation, and there are ingredients in Klothomax that do clean up low-grade inflammation, you're going to increase your energy. You're going to feel more energy every day. Um, and there is a direct correlation with high Klotho levels and libido, healthy sex life. So, doing studies with high Klotho levels and doing questionnaires on patients about their sexual libido and sexual satisfaction, much higher the reports with high Klotho levels. So, kind of, say, oh shit, I mean, yeah, maybe I want to take some more, maybe I want my Klotho levels higher, just because it'll improve my libido.
Well, that's
So those
impressive.
are all good things. Yeah.
Amazing. So you guys want to learn a little bit more about Clotho? We have his book here. You can log on also to Amazon. You can get it on Amazon as well. I think it's and he has an ebook also on Clotho, right? You have that available.
Yeah, there's an ebook that's doing a promo right now. You can buy it for like 99 cents. So it makes no sense not to, right? But yeah, it's a good read. Like I said, it's like 180 pages, and every single page will tell you some dramatic improvement or in your quality of life and longevity linked to high Klotho levels.
Wonderful. Well, if you guys have any questions, you can log on to our website. It's pwmgmed.com or boutiquewellnessnc.com, and it'll also be on the link below. So you can click it. Please subscribe to our podcast and like us and make some comments on some other topics that you'd like to listen to and make sure that we can take note of that. We will be releasing a new episode every week. We
Well,
look forward
great.
to it again. Thank you so much for joining us.